Good morning, I'm Brian Suma, and I hope you're getting inspired this Monday morning. Well, we are at it again on Beyond the Sport, as this week we are shifting gears a little bit, and literally we are shifting gears from football to motorsport, as this week we are going to focus on a champion. He is legendary, I tell you. He has tried a milestone for 10 years, and after that accomplished to become champion in a certain field. What am I talking about? That's for you to find out. Oh, champ. Vipi? Asante sana, asante sana. Hello, sir. I'm good. I'm good, kabisa. Ladies and gentlemen, I told you we have a champion in the house today, and it's none other than Leonardo Varese. And I got it right, huh?
Yes, yeah, you got it right.
Where do you hail from? Because it sounds Italian.
Okay, it's Italian.
It's Italian.
Italian origin, yeah.
So by that, let's start by you giving us a brief background about yourself. Who is Leonardo? Where did you originate from?
Okay.
When did you come to Kenya? Probably
in the 80s. Back in the 80s. I was born in South America, but Italian father, and came to Kenya back in the 80s. I was a young boy those days, and yeah, basically, and I've made Kenya my home since those days. Yeah.
Before we get into the story itself, know how you got into rallying. Probably tell us, what are we doing here? Because you can see you have this car here. This, I suppose, this is your.
You see, half the preparation is not all about the driving. Comes here in the workshop. So I've managed to learn quite a few things about achieving some success. And if you don't prepare your car well, whether you're the fastest driver or not, you're not going to do well. So we've been lucky. We've been working here with Muse for a few years now, and I can say we've been pretty successful at it. So the work, half the work is done here. Then you go and put your effort on the day, but preparation is the key. You know.
When did you discover that you have this passion in rallying? Because it just didn't come.
It was my high school days in Brookhouse School, where I met up with my Navigator. Kigo, yeah, Kigo. So back in the school days, you know, Safari Rally was WRC those days, and our school was always usually the last checkpoint before they go to KCC. So they are just the magic of the Safari. We were like, we used to help out as volunteers at the last checkpoint, yeah. So they used to get to meet this Mickey Viasion, Recalde, all those guys who used to come those days back in the 80s. So the passion grew from there. Yeah.
The passion grew from there, and as I can see, this car is quite different from, because these are Toyota 110.
Yes, 110, yeah.
And it's quite different from any other. If we open the hood of a Toyota 110, it's different from this.
Yeah, of course.
So what does it entail for you to come up with a rally car, a complete rally car?
Well, the body is 110, but of course, suspension, you can't use regular suspension because you will not go very far. So you have to invest in some
And when you talk about suspension, just to show the viewers back at home, what are we talking about in terms of suspension?
Basically, the suspension of the car is worth more than the car.
This one?
Yeah.
It costs more than the car?
Yes. Yeah. So when you have good suspension, now driving becomes so much easier. And that's what people don't understand. First of all, they go for a big engine, and then they realize they've got no suspension, so basically the car is all over the place. It's undrivable. So suspension is the key. Then you go to the engine, you get some decent power, and but you start from the suspension.
So is this a turbo engine?
No. In two-wheel drive, you're not allowed turbo unless it's 1300 or below cc. So we actually the most underpowered car in the Kenya National Championship. We're running only a 1600 cc engine. Yeah. 20 valve and we're the most underpowered car in the whole of Kenya National. So the beauty of doing two-wheel drive is like you're the most underpowered car, but sometimes we are beating even some guys with Subarus and 10, and you get so much more pleasure in two-wheel drive by doing things like that. You know, you get to enjoy rallying much more than if you are sitting in Evo 10 spending millions of shillings. Two-wheel drive has that kind of magic. And then in two-wheel drive you get among ourselves, the people in two-wheel drive, there's a friendly atmosphere, we joke around, we make jokes, and it's a good atmosphere.
So it means that the ones who are in four-wheel drive class, they are a bit rigid.
Yeah, also because maybe they believe because they're spending so much money, now things are really serious there, you know. And but two-wheel drive is a good family. Yeah.
So you've told us that you discovered the passion when you're still in school, but when did you really first get into a car?
Well, you know, unfortunately, unless you have some funds or something, you can't get inside a car, because even to buy your first car and to put anything together, you need to dig into your own pocket. And unfortunately, when I was 18, 19, I didn't have no money. You know, you're a student. First you have to graduate, go to college, and get a job, get some money. So it was not until I was in my 30s, early 30s, that I managed to get a VW Golf. And I called up my old buddy from school, and I told him, yeah, we're ready, let's give it a shot. Yeah.
I can see this engine. This is something I don't see in so many vehicles.
Yeah.
What's this for?
Well, that one is it's called a canister. It basically makes the car don't feel any bumps. It makes your driving much easier. Yeah. Basically, the car will sit straight on the road, will not be jumping. If there's a big jump, it softens the jump and grabs the road. You know, it's basically the latest in technology when it comes to suspension. Yeah.
What about this cage? Because is it really necessary?
Let's
start with that.
In rally, you need this basically in case of accident and stuff. Maybe the engine doesn't come off or go on that side, or let's say if something bad, you would have a bad roll. At least the engine would not maybe go over the windscreen or something. You know? So, but yeah, it's just safety measures they have in rally cars.
So from here, let's get to see what happens in the inside.
Okay.
Right? So yeah, let's talk about these seats, because they are quite different from an ordinary car seat. Why are they like so?
Well, basically they're called bucket seats, and in case of the safety measures, in case of a roll or accident, basically you're strapped in to the seat, not moving. So it's a way of you maybe for your safety. Yeah.
And something also that is quite different in this car is this metal bar. Yeah? What do you call it?
Roll cage.
A roll cage. What does it?
That one is a must in every rally car, because in case of a roll, basically the roof doesn't cave in, you know, and smashes your head or something. So basically the shell stays.
So you can do without the bucket seats, but this one is a must.
They're both a must for safety reasons. You must have both the seats and the roll cage. Yeah.
And this one is the handbrake?
Hydraulic handbrake. Basically, in a two-wheel drive, you know, by using this on the corner, it helps you turn faster.
Like skidding?
Yes. So then you throw the car one side, and then you don't use too much of the steering. Yeah.
Oh, when you do it, you don't use your steering? Right?
No, you just use slightly, and then you don't damage your drive shaft, because you don't use too much full swing on the steer, just a bit plus this, and then the car throws itself on that side.
So you as a driver, how are you able to coordinate with the navigator who sits where I'm seated right here?
Well, it takes years of you have to gel in with your navigator, because then he understands your pace, and you understand him as well. And then also you're able to tell that whether he's a good navigator or bad, as in like he's not getting lost on the notes. So it takes time to gel with a navigator, you know, not easy. But fortunately for us, we gelled from the beginning. We both started as beginners, and we gelled all the way.
My name is Kigo Kareidi. I'm the navigator in this car. Actually, the work of a navigator is to read notes, and most of the traditionally notes are written on paper. Most navigators have a notebook, and when you do the recce, you go around the route as you write your pace notes. Now, I'm doing the same thing, only I do it on an iPad. Mine is completely electronic. I do it on an iPad, and that same application on the iPad is able to now act as a timer. It basically acts like almost like a mini computer that aids us in the rally. It tells us the time, it tells us how we are doing, because it has something called a split timer, which means when you have, let's say, a loop that you have done twice, on the second loop round, the eco driver can actually tell you whether you're doing this loop faster or slower, which is important, very important, and it's not something that you could ever achieve with paper.
So we get out so that we can see more of the car, right?
Okay.
There's no back seat. Why is that?
Well, basically, you don't need to carry any passenger. So we are looking at extra weight, unnecessary, you know. So, and then in some cars, they put the spare tire there.
Every rally car, because since I started watching rally, Kenyan rally, I've noticed that you have to put stickers on the car. Let's talk about these two names, because I can see your name there and your blood group,
yes,
I suppose.
Yeah.
And that's your navigator's name and his blood
group, yeah.
Why is this so significant?
This is very important because in case you're unconscious and you need some blood, they don't just inject you any type of blood. They need to know the blood firsthand, what you need, yeah? And maybe you're unconscious, you can't tell them, yeah?
And they can't confuse, like, the names.
No, yeah, hopefully not, yeah.
Because the first name, Varese, if it was probably Kimani and Kareidi, probably somebody would confuse, you know.
Yeah, but also on the helmet, you have also your blood group. So if you're still wearing your helmet, you will have your blood group, yeah.
The sport itself, it's quite tedious to handle if you don't have funds.
I'd say it's very difficult to achieve any success in this sport without funds, proper funding. So we are glad that Sportpesa came to back us up since 2014, and yeah, without them, none of them would have been possible.
Please, a round of applause for Leonardo and Tigando Varese.
Speed will kill you. Yeah, probably if you race on the street, speed will kill you. But in rallying, because of the safety measures we have, throughout our career, we've had small incidents, but nothing much happened, except one time we rolled back when we were first starting. And imagine, we were so lucky the car landed on the wheels again, and we continued. So it's part of the learning. But when you're racing in a safe environment like rallying, then it's speed most likely will not kill you. You know. So touch wood for us, we've had minor incidents, but not serious stuff.
You and your navigator, Kareidi, you accomplished a major milestone, which probably you should tell us about, because you've been doing this for the last over 10 years, but there's one trophy, one title that has been evading you. Tell us about that.
Yeah, basically this year we managed to win the Safari Rally to add to our list of championships. So that was a great feeling, because we had done maybe like 8, 9 safaris, and we never won the category. But this year we were lucky to finally win it.
All these years you've been in Kenya, do you know some Swahili?
Yeah, kabisa.
So tunaweza ongea kidogo kwa lugha ya mama, lugha ya mtaa. Sasa kuna kitu ambayo umeleta ni kwamba katika two-wheel drive na four-wheel drive kukompare zote mbili, kuna advantage kwa wale wanaendesha four-wheel drive na wale wa two-wheel drive in terms of expense. What do you mean by that?
Hai, sasa najua mambo ya two-wheel. Ukinunua mguu za gari, unanunua tu mbili. As opposed to four-wheel unaenda kwa shop, lazima uchukue 4. Juu traction ni hapo mbele ama nyuma. So expenses lazima zikuwe chini as compared to four-wheel. Sasa na hizo vitu zingine kwa four-wheel bearings unanunua mara 4, kwa two-wheel unanunua mara 2. Kwa hivyo expenses ziko chini sana compared to four-wheel.
One thing that most rally drivers are complaining about in the circuit is that there's no fair play, probably in terms of the cars, because the way I've modified my car is different from the way the other guy has modified his car, and also in terms of fuel, because there's a special fuel which you use. Probably you can tell us about that.
Yeah, unfortunately the competition is not fair, especially at the top. If you have the funds and the means, you can buy racing fuel, which will give you a 10% advantage on the AFGAS, or somebody even running V-Power. So basically, at the top, they're fighting for those 1 second, 2 seconds, and then the more funding you have, the more things you can afford, like racing fuel, that only some of the top guys can really afford that stuff. Brian.
Yeah.
Karibu sana.
Wow. You have a lovely home. Yeah?
This is my humble place.
Thank you. Yeah. Who makes it proper?
The wife.
The wife. So let's sit down and talk about the wife. Asante sana.
Welcome.
Asante sana. You've told us about the wife. For how long have you been together?
We've been married together since 2004. Yeah. And yes, 13 years now.
How of help has she been to you and your career? Because it's quite crucial for you, because having traveling around the country, doing the rallying.
Yeah, they always say behind every successful man there's a successful woman. And it's true, because rallying takes you away from the family, the duties, taking care of the kids, school, all that. And you need somebody to back you up 100% in what you're doing. You don't want to go to rally and then the wife maybe is angry because you're going to rally. So it's very, very crucial that the wife really supports you in what you're doing. So I have to say I'm very lucky in that way. Yeah.
You've told us that you have 2 kids. Among them, probably their gender, and among them, who's following your footsteps?
So still too early to tell, yeah. I don't want to push them to do motorsport. Motorsport also is an expensive sport. And for now they're just doing, the girl is playing tennis. And in fact right now she's in Mauritius with the Kenya team, under 14. And then the boy is playing football in an academy. And of course he loves racing and stuff. Usually goes for GP karting and stuff like that. But still too early. Let them do some sports and then eventually we'll see. You know, let's face it, motorsports in Kenya doesn't pay your bills. So let them concentrate with the studies and some other sports, and then we see. This is like a hobby. You don't make a career out of it. You know, in Kenya, unfortunately, it's very difficult from Kenya to go outside and make it. Yeah.
So besides rallying, motorsport, what else do you do?
No, we have a mushroom concern, agriculture, and then some transport concern as well. And yeah, that's my line of work. Yeah.
I can see your achievements littered around this place. And earlier you spoke about the safari one, where you won for the first time after trying for 10 years.
Yeah, safari rallies had eluded us for a long time. Many times we came second, and then finally this year apart from the championships, the safari, to win the class in the safari is very prestigious because of what the safari entails to Kenya's rally history. So to win the class this year was particularly special, and we were elated that we finally did it. Yeah.
So from this, let's talk about these ones because they are nearer.
Yeah.
So which one is the most prestigious among these?
Okay, winning this the safari this year was it's something we were after for a long time because we had taken 4 championships, but we had never won the class in the safari. So this one is special. But they all have a lot of these trophies have a lot of memories and they were not easy to get. We had to sweat for them, yeah. So they're all special in a way. So I unfortunately don't have too much space to keep all my trophies here at my place. So some of them are at my mother's place.
At an average, how many trophies do you have? Average?
No, if you think about it, there's 8 rallies a season, and we've been around for 10 years. So yeah, maybe we have like 70 or so trophies.
So I can see everything is put there in an orderly manner. I bet that's what you.
No, actually, when I just come home, I just leave the trophy there, and then we look for a place to place them. Usually with my daughter, because she has her own trophies in her room, and then she always comes, or my wife, they say maybe it looks better here or where.
So you place them accordingly.
Yeah, sometimes not so much accordingly, but maybe as to where it would fit nicely. But yeah, it's even she was the one of the idea of this thing for the trophies.
It's quite a thing. It's quite a
because
thing.
yeah, otherwise over the years you'll
be cluttering everywhere with trophies, eh?
And then the thing is, some people they say they don't value the trophy itself, but every trophy has a story, and then you try to keep them clean and in good condition, not just throw it in a corner.
Yeah, because I can see they're not all that dusty. I've done several shows, and you get guys with dusty trophies.
Yeah, they just put it in a corner,
and you forget about it.
But no, I try to basically keep it a bit neat.
Let me ask you a question, because I know viewers back at home are wondering, because if there's no award money, why are you doing this? Because the sport in itself it's quite expensive.
Well, I'm lucky to have Sport Pesa on board with me. Otherwise, none of this would be possible. To be honest, I wouldn't be able to afford running the whole year, the championship and all that. So I'm among the lucky ones that I'm sponsored. Some other ones, they're lucky that they have their own funds, they can finance themselves. So they do it for the love of the sport, because they're using their money, to basically do something they like, they're passionate about. But without sponsorship for us, none of this would have been possible. Yeah, it's a very expensive sport, unfortunately.
You've told us that in an entire series there are lows and highs. What are some of your lowest moments in the sport?
Well, like when you're used to winning, now not winning it's a bit of a low, but then you understand life is like that. You can't win all the time.
I'm looking into that camera. Probably just speak to that person.
Yeah.
Give them some encouragement.
Yeah.
What would you tell them?
Basically, I'll tell them never to give up on your dream, and if you really want it, you'll get it. It's just a matter of focusing yourself on what you want, and then go out there and give it your best, and things will work out eventually.
So you've heard it from the champ himself. If you really want it, you'll get it. We sorted him because we really wanted to get him bad all beyond the sport, and just like we did get him, you can also get whatever you want on or in your life. So keep it life and style, keep it beyond the sport. I've been your host, Brian Tuma, with the champion, Leonardo.
Asante sana, Brian.
Asante sana. You should teach me some Italian. How do I say bye in Italian?
Ciao.
Ciao. Just that?
Ci vediamo. Ciao.
Ciao.
If you can look closely, utaona imeanza kubadilika. It has started having like a light yellow. Yeah, the color changing. Yeah.